It's been 2 years since the first Royal Selection forecast video in which I slander Emilia's chances at winning for 25 minutes. Well, I'm here to do it again, but for an unknown amount of time this time. Now, what I really don't want to do is make half of this video a retelling of the first, so I highly recommend going back and watching the first video so you understand some of my positions and why I've come to them. What I will do is briefly recap the state of things before I talk about current events. Spoiler warning, I'm going to talk about the entirety of ReZero up to Arc 9 Phase 3 as that's what's currently out. At the end of the first video, my ranking, not in terms of personal preferences but in terms of who is making the best case to be king, was Priscilla, then Felt, then Crusch equals Anastasia, and then Emilia. Priscilla had spent the most time outside of Felt actually contributing to the well-being of Lagunikins. She also gets a pass narratively and in-universe for being cruel to people, and really the only thing holding her back was her knight not exactly being popular. Not to say that Aldebaran was hated, people just didn't get him. This was also similar to why Felt was positioned so well, actually accomplishing things in the nation. However, she had a much more troubled reputation to overcome that Priscilla didn't, which was counterbalanced by the fact that her knight was Reinhard von Estrella. Crusch and Anastasia are two examples of people who don't really do that. Crusch because Tape likes to beat her with hammers and is solely coasting on name recognition and her radical policy, while Anastasia just has Julius, or I guess, not anymore. She has some ties to Lagunica, of course, but given her work in Kararagi, and the people being distrusting of her because of it, it's not a good start. Emilia just doesn't have much. She's carried by the people around her, and rather than policy, her only feats include killing things, and unfortunately, she is straddled with hundreds of years of racism that is all locking in on her. Again, watch the first video if you want a much more in-depth explanation and look at all of this. Before we start talking about the rest of Arc 8 and 9, I want to quickly address something that I straight up forgot in the first video. Subaru's speech in Arc 5. It just slipped my mind, but yes, it would be good PR for the Emilia camp. However, I think its effects are overstated. It would be focused on Subaru, not necessarily Emilia, and it'll take some time for word to spread, and it also doesn't really undo any of my criticism of Emilia from the first video when it in fact bolsters it, because it again involves killing shit and also her not really doing anything. Now, let's get into the rest of the story and talk about the state of the Royal Selection, and let's just jump straight into our frontrunner from video 1, Priscilla Burial. Well, if you're watching this video, you already know. They in fact already called the selection in her favor because she was goated. Lagunica is now entering a golden age as nature heals, and even Volcanica gets his brain back. Okay. She's dead. My bad. There goes the frontrunner, I guess. With Priscilla's death, there are a few pretty substantial changes. First, well, what happened at the burial domain? As Arc 9 tells us, Roswell heads there to take care of unfinished business. We can assume this does mean at least a couple of bonus points for Emilia, since she would have swooped in to help these people. I also do think that she would benefit from Priscilla's death purely from a political standpoint, as I don't see many Priscilla fans going to Anastasia or Crusch, which leaves two people. Emilia could see an influx of new supporters, but more than that would be Felt. Of course, it would be silly to say that 0 would go to Crusch or Anna. I just don't think it will be many, and some of them might even feel, instead, politically homeless. Of course, there's an elephant in the room here. Her knight is a terrorist. It's kind of hard to determine how this will impact things, but we can at least make a couple of educated guesses. The first is that it won't mean much for Priscilla's viability as a candidate, because she's fucking dead. Her legacy may have a stain on it, and some people might benefit from stepping in to stop his reign of terror, but it's hard to quantify for now, so we'll touch on things relating to Priscilla's death and Aldebaran's terrorism rampage as we go through the other candidates. Going in order, it's time to talk about Felt, or as I like to call her, the brand new frontrunner, because the old one is dead. I think that Felt will hold the possession of lead, and I also think that it won't even be close. Seriously, I think Felt is just a political powerhouse in the making. Think of it this way. People were drawn to Priscilla because of her absurd confidence coupled with her ability to actually get things done. Felt has very similar powerful rhetoric, much different to what one would expect from the nobles that the people of Lagunica might have come to resent at this point, though it of course isn't coupled with overwhelming confidence. What she does have, however, is her ability to get shit done. Felt has probably put in the most work as a candidate that we've seen, even more than Priscilla at this point. Not a slight because she's dead, by the way, I genuinely think so. I mean, just look at how many different underground factions and people she brought together to come and stop Aldebaran. Did Emilia do that? No. Did Anastasia do that? She hasn't even showed up. Did Crusch do that? No, she can't do anything. Did Priscilla... my bad. Felt has shown an unbelievable skill in bringing people together, more so than Emilia, which is supposed to be like her entire thing. Now, there is a valid question about if there would be some backfire, since she is working largely with criminals. She already has some form of reputation as street trash, and this likely will contribute to that unfortunate perception of her. I'm not exactly sure how badly it would impact her, since I'm not sure what the common thought is in Lagunica about these criminal groups. If you do know, please leave a comment. My knee-jerk reaction is they're all poor and probably don't give a shit. I think she'll also receive a boon from Reinhard. Probably not a substantial one since it's not really her doing it, but he is, you know, kind of protecting the entire world from the Witch of Envy for like a week straight, and surely that stands for something. All in all, Felt is in a very, very strong lead for the royal selection at the moment. Now, in the last list, below Felt I had Anastasia and Crusch tied. Well, I think it's safe to say that Crusch is probably slipping at this point. Realistically, the only thing keeping her from being dead last is because she's running against Emilia. Now, if you're wondering how the hell she's above Emilia, I think that she, at this point, would still be getting carried by name recognition as a member of House Karsten and all of her previous deeds, and some people will likely have hope for her recovery, considering her knight is Ferris. Of course, we, the viewer, know she's fucking cooked, but the general population might not. She's also barely clinging on thanks to Ferris' reputation, though it might not be all that high. He is still the best healer in the kingdom, and of course, she has Wilhelm von Astrea on her side, who, while an Astrea, is also kind of just like Emilia in that he's only known for killing shit. I was ready to reevaluate Crusch's placement on this list with Arc 9, however, somehow, she has not done a single thing between Arc 5 and 9. No side stories, no main story content, nothing. Her only mention in Arc 9 so far is that she's here because she's so fucked up, she can't do anything else. I really don't know what Top is cooking with that one. Another thing keeping her from dead last is the small boost from Arc 9, purely because from the perspective of Lagunica, the Divine Dragon has gone fucking insane and is actively participating in terrorism around the nation. This plays pretty fiercely into her stance on reliance on the dragon, if she remembers it anyway. This is the main thing that will keep her from falling into irrelevancy right now, to be frank. This is probably going to be the very last forecast where she is ahead of Emilia, unless she gets the chance to do something, like literally anything top A. It has been so many years. This shifts Anastasia through the forefront, though, through the wonderful tactic of, doing nothing, but like, in a better way than Crusch, I guess. Truthfully, I think she has the least interesting update in this entire video, despite being one of the most present candidates in recent times. She, like Emilia, will likely not experience any surges because of her time in Wallachia, as well as her close ties to Kataragi, basically what I already said in the first video. Julius is still forgotten, and well, that really makes her the most boring candidate to exist at the moment. Even though Emilia is dead last, there's still way more intrigue going on for her. Emilia was in a terrible spot when we last touched base, and let's just say, things might have gotten even worse, though there are some glimmers of hope. We spoke in the first video about how she only really participates in battle. Well, Wallachia doesn't make it any better. Fighting dragons and witches, even if effectively, is not policy. I also think her policy of being anti-racism might take a stab, considering she's working with the genocidal and racist Wallachia, including Ugard Wallachia, who started the whole thing. Though it's also possible that people don't know that she worked specifically with Ugard, just Wallachia. This might be too uncharitable, so if it is, you can just ignore it, but there's also an argument to be made that Emilia's all-powerful nature and track record of being a combatant could serve to backfire, only aiding the racist characterizations of her as the Witch of Envy, as she serves as a force of nature, much like the very Witch of Envy in the Augria Sand Dunes holding down the Sword Saint right now. Emilia only has arcs 10, 11, and 12 left to actually develop a policy, a campaign, a platform, literally anything, and has effectively done nothing at all. This is unfortunately the Roswell, Otto, and Subaru campaign. Radicals will also likely link Priscilla's demise to Emilia's presence, though I'm not sure how many people will buy it, it's hard to say, but it is undeniable at this point that wherever Emilia goes, tragedy follows. The attacks on Arlem in Arc 2, the movement of the Witch Cult in Arc 3, the Sanctuary situation, Pristella, the Sage's death, and now Priscilla's death and Rise of the Undead. It's not looking good. I do think the Emilia camp's work in Wallachia will be recognized by some, however, the biggest gains will be support from Wallachians, which doesn't matter, since this is a Lagunican election. Support in Wallachia is meaningless, if not something that would work against her, but maybe that's going too far. I think Arc 9 sees Emilia's first real net positive since, I don't know, Arc 4? Unfortunately, it is again another battle-based metric with her battle with Aldebron. However, she also completely saved parts of the Noble District as well as the large chunk of the capital from being completely destroyed by his rubble. Also, like I mentioned earlier, the burial domain stuff is probably only a net positive. One could interpret her saving the capital as something disconnected from the common folk, but even I, for all my Emilia slander, think that's far too cynical. I think it is literally only a good thing, even if it's not enough to change her position at all until Crusch falls off even harder by the next forecast. So to finish it up, the new order is Felt, and then Anastasia, and then Crusch, and then Emilia. This is in how well positioned I think they are to actually win, not how much I like them. In terms of how much I like them, it's Felt, then Emilia, then Crusch, then Priscilla's dead body, and then Anastasia. How will the rest of Arc 9 and the coming Arc 10 impact things? I don't know, man, they aren't out yet. I think Arc 9 could see some genuine returns for the Emilia camp, as they are likely going to be instrumental in stopping Aldebaran's rampage, which you can find more about in this video. We know that Arc 10 will include content about the Council of Wise Men being quite suspicious of Subaru's accomplishments, which might not help their look, to be honest, but maybe this will serve as a Royal Capital arc in which Emilia actually gets to prove herself as a candidate, though I think it's still more narratively powerful for her to drop out. I see absolutely no stopping Felt's progression as the top candidate, and for these two, who really cares? That's all. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe for more. You can also check the description down below to become a member, which gives you benefits like early videos, membership badges, and cool custom emotes. You can join the Discord where we talk about ReZero, Kagurabachi, Jujutsu Kaisen, and all kind of stuff. Additionally, you can go to the channel store and pick up some awesome stickers made by our channel artist, so you can carry the power of Graphia with you on your water bottle. That's about it though. Thank you for watching. See ya.